Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, the Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance, he is Scott Dupree. Scott, it's finally happening, man. The Stadium Series is finally going to happen on Saturday. And I don't think we could ask for better weather based on the forecast. It's going to be in the 40s. It's going to be clear. It's going to be a lovely night at Carter Finley Stadium.
Well, first of all, don't just immediately jinx the weather forecast, because I don't enjoy anyone talking about the weather this week. How good it's going to be, that's not a good thing to do. So you've probably already jinxed that. But yes, it's finally here. And it's been, truly 5 years in the making. I mean, I remember when Dundon bought the team at his introductory press conference with Bettman at the arena, one of the first things he said was, I wanted to bring an outdoor game to Raleigh. And that has been at the top of Dundon's, or near the top of Dundon's priority list for 5 years now. Of course, it was supposed to be here 2 years ago, and then it got sidetracked by COVID, as we all know. So it has been a 5-year process, and I think it's been Dundon, honestly, just at the start, just hammering away at Bettman and being relentless on bringing an outdoor game here. And it, after a couple of years of that, it paid off. And now we've had the delay, so here we are 5 years later. I will say, I've been doing this a long time here in Raleigh. I genuinely don't remember an event that has generated this much anticipation and excitement so far out. I don't mean just now. I mean going back to last summer when the Canes last season ended. People have been talking about this event for a solid year, and the buildup has just been pretty incredible in my experience. And I don't remember anything like it. And now, after all of the waiting, here we are at the doorstep.
Scott Dupree joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. That's Joe Ovius. I'm Joe Giglio. You mentioned the delay. You mentioned the event. You mentioned the buildup. Kind of makes me think of and you were around for it, makes me think of the NHL All-Star Game after all of the years, and then to have the payoff that they did. And I think that's where this market gets underestimated, Scott. Why do you think every time there's an NHL event, the NHL comes in, it's like, and they're like, this is my shocked face, like, oh my God, Raleigh and the Triangle are really embracing this event. I can't believe it. What is happening?
When are we going to get past this? I don't know. I do think this. I think NHL staff, in an NHL world, I believe they know about our track record, and they are completely confident on Raleigh embracing it, Raleigh hosting it, these big major events like Draft, All-Star, and now Outdoor Game. So I think in terms of event and operations and running the event, they had supreme confidence in Raleigh doing this. I think in terms of ticket sales, they were very leery and very nervous about putting this game in Raleigh, and they were somewhat taken aback in a very pleasant ways, in a shocked way, of how this game sold out pretty much immediately. And I have heard from the league, not really officially, but unofficially from the league, that this was the fastest sellout they've ever had for an outdoor game. And I think that's the part this time around that really surprised the league and national media observers and people who live in Canada and people who think about Raleigh the way they think about Raleigh, that they were really genuinely surprised at how successful this game has been so far in terms of preparation and ticket sales. And it doesn't, for the Canes and the folks who live here, it doesn't surprise any of us at all. I knew it was going to be a quick sellout, and I know the Canes felt the same way, but I do believe outsiders were not prepared for that.
Scott Dupree joining us, Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance on the Heister Automotive Group hotline alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovius. Why do you think that's the case? I mean, to your point, it doesn't surprise Gary Bettman, commissioner of the NHL.
No.
He's done this enough. He's seen enough events here. But why do you think this is still the case with this area as it continues to grow? I mean, I feel like every week there's some sort of new announcement about a tech company that's moving here or whatever it is. So why are they surprised that there's an appetite for this stuff?
I don't know. I think we're so far past. When I hear that question, and we've had this conversation so many times with different people over the last several months. First of all, not only are the Canes winning big, and not only are the Canes, incredibly selling out every game now. I mean, they're winning big. They've never been more popular. Every game's essentially a sellout. Then you look back, Joe. One of my favorite stats of the week is the list of teams that have, since 2000, in this century, that have won a Stanley Cup, hosted the Draft, All-Star Weekend, and an outdoor game. The entire list is Los Angeles and Raleigh. that have done all of those major NHL events, including winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do believe in Gary Bettman's office and in the NHL in New York, they are all in and sold and know that the Hurricanes have a really strong franchise and that this market, it's not fair to me. It's not fair anymore to say that Raleigh's a good hockey market or Raleigh's an okay hockey market. I believe Raleigh is a great hockey market. And I think the things I just mentioned prove it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great hockey market. And I believe the league recognizes that and knows it. But why national media or, pardon the interruption, or Canadian media, why they still have the same Mayberry takes? And, I can't answer that question, but it's still out there.
Scott Dupree joining us here on the OG. All right, Scott, Friday, I'm excited because I'm going to be downtown. I miss working downtown. What do I have to look forward to when I head downtown to do our show on Friday from the Fan Fest?
Well,
I can come by your office too, right?
Of course.
For old time's sake, I can just come upstairs and maybe we'll get a beer.
The old In-N-O building. Yes, so Fan Fest is an event. Just so we're clear, Saturday's game, the truly pregame zone in the game, that's an NHL event, and it's all being run and planned and produced by the NHL. Friday downtown, we've got Fan Fest, and this is an event that is run by our local organizing committee and the Carolina Hurricanes, and it's not an NHL event, but it's a traditional Raleigh. Remember the old Raleigh wide open events? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The whole length of Fayetteville Street from the City Plaza to the Capitol. It's going to be a huge event from 11 a.m. to 9. There's going to be not just, of course, about 2 stages, lots of music, but also food vendors and events and activities. The Stanley Cup's going to be there. Canes alumni signing autographs. There's going to be a drone show in the evening, fireworks. It's going to be a full-fledged Raleigh, street fest, the kind that we've had so many times successfully over the years. And again, it's from 11 to 9. The key to this is it's free. I know
you're about to use my favorite words, especially for this weekend.
Right. No. So there's two things on that. I know that there's so many fans who either couldn't get stadium tickets because it was sold out, or it was too expensive because they were not cheap tickets. So what I think is wonderful about this weekend is Fan Fest from 11 to 9 is free for everyone. And then Monday, February 20, which is a holiday for many people on President's Day, there are 2 hockey games at Carter Finley that are going to be free. So if you want to get in and experience what it's like to see outdoor hockey, at 4 o'clock on Monday is the Canes alumni game, their annual alumni game. And at 7 o'clock, it's NC State Carolina Club hockey. So it's a hockey doubleheader on Monday that's free. I do believe both games will be taking donations at the door. But the bottom line is it's not a ticketed event, and it's a chance for everybody to get into the building and see some outdoor hockey. So those are 2 important free components of the weekend that I think were very important to all of our organizers, to make sure we had significant free aspects to this that's open to the public.
Well, that's awesome, but you also forgot to mention that we will be at Fan Fest.
Yeah, come on, Scott. That's like the huge draw. We'll be doing the show from Fan Fest. Just come on by and watch us do Radio Magic.
I thought we were friends.
You're the headlining act of Fan Fest.
Yeah, not Super Chunk. No offense to Mac. It's us. We're going to be out there hanging out. Scott Dupree, Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance, joining us here on the OG alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias. We'll close on this. All right. Stadium Series finally happens. What's next? What's the next big? What's Raleigh shooting for in the future? Now we do big events right. We might not have done the World League of American Football right, as I found out in my podcast project about the Raleigh-Durham Skyhawks. We didn't get an NFL team, but what's next, Scott?
Well, that's a good question. I guess you can look at it on 2 fronts. In our world, we're not going to host the Super Bowl or the Olympics, and we're not going to host the men's Final Four. Mm-hmm. So those are out for this market. But if you look in our world, I would say a couple of things. One, I think we're due to go back to the league for another All-Star weekend. I mean, it's been 12 years, but if we go back now, it'll be at least another 5 before we actually get it. So I think that's the appropriate time span there. So I do think All-Star weekend is on the table again. To look at that. And then the second thing I would mention is our other big ticket item here, as you know, our signature event, or is always NCAA basketball. And so we've always tried with NC State.
No, sir. You had an unbelievable soccer game this year between Carolina and UCLA. That is your annual. That's your best annual event right there.
Now that was
an unbelievable game.
Yeah.
And great crowd, great
game.
atmosphere. I mean, and you guys, nobody does it better than you guys.
So we have lots of college cups lined up for the future. And then we've got 3 more years of men's and women's college cups. On the basketball side, we've always wanted to we'd love to have a regional here, a regional final. And I also think women's Final Four, the conversation of women's Final Four is going to be on the table again. NCAA bids are coming out again this summer for the next, 4 or 5 years down the road. And I'd like us to look at women's Final Four, women's regional, and men's regionals. And of course, as much soccer as we can get.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on that. Scott Dupree, Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance. We appreciate the time. Have fun on Saturday and drop by the headlining act of our show.
I will be at the headlining act 3 to 6 Friday. I will be there. And remember, Friday is rain or shine. And since we have to be prepared.
I was looking at the forecast. It looks like a good chunk of stuff will clear out by noon on Friday. So it looks like the Raleigh Weather Dome will activate in time for all of this.
I hope you're right, man. Thank you for having me. Y'all have a good day.